Hello and welcome to 3 simple, fast, easy ways to profit from social media in 30 days or less without tech overwhelm. One of the small criticisms that I get sometimes is that my training can be a little bit technical. So when we were putting together the 4 steps to social media profits bootcamp, I had one friend who was helping me promote it, and he's like, "Yeah, you want to come?" And he's like, "You know what? It's always like kind of over my head, you know." And I was like, "No, no, no." I'm like, "I'll make this one like super non-techy." And this presentation that you're this whoopsie daisy, sorry. This presentation that you're about to hear is actually the same presentation. It's a little bit different, but pretty much the same presentation I did at the 4 Steps to Social Media Profits Bootcamp. So if you were there and you notice I'm going through the same content, this is pretty much the same content. I've taken a few things out. I've updated a bunch of stuff, and it will be different. And obviously, when I'm presenting, I'm just kind of going at it. I don't have a script here. I'm just talking. I'm also going to be interacting with the chat as well. I just want to ask, when you ask a question in this webinar or any webinar, please have context to it, because I might not check the chat box for questions for maybe every 10 or 20 minutes or so. So there's no context to your question. I won't know what you were talking about because I'm not looking at it at the same time as speaking. Otherwise, I'd be all over the place, right? So I just focus on the presentation. I deliver the content. Then every once in a while, I'll go and peek at the questions, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to kick around and I'll answer all of your questions. All right, so we'll just kick around and we'll just do a Q&A. I'm going to turn the recording off and we're just going to chat, right? So I'm cool to stick around and answer any of your questions if you guys want. All right, let's get into it. So just a quick background about me for anyone who doesn't know me. I was actually putting a lot of effort into this webinar to get people who don't know me here. Actually, I'm just curious, can you guys just type in the questions box or the chat box and just tell me who does not know me? Just say, I don't know you or something like that. I'm just curious who's like here brand new, has no idea who I am, because that was kind of my goal with this whole thing, was to get people who don't know me in this webinar, and I think we got tons of new people as far as I've seen so far in the stats. But just curious, just want to see the chat here. All right, awesome. All right, so quick little background. I actually studied film. I was in the film industry, and I was really inspired by the movie Pulp Fiction and how stories could be told and how stories can really motivate people. So I hated school. I was a horrible student, and I used to watch movies as a form of education for myself. And I remember Pulp Fiction was the first one that got me into film. That's when I was like, wow, I really love film. It could be different, right? And I know Pulp Fiction, if anyone's seen it, it's a very violent movie, and it's not like it's inspirational, but it was the depth of the story and how the story was told that was very different from other movies, which I think is what got attention to that movie. Even if you look at marketing today, if you're different from everybody else, that's going to get you attention, right? So I've taken a lot of stuff that I do in marketing, and I've learned from the entertainment industry, from movies and music, and how they do their marketing. Another movie I really loved was The Godfather and Star Wars, of course. The Godfather taught me a lot about family and commitment, and I know there was lots of murder in there as well, but that aside, if you take out the crime of The Godfather, it's really about being committed to your family and that sort of thing. And then Star Wars, I think Star Wars can teach you a lot about life, and of being a Jedi, right? And I'm definitely a Jedi in all things. Sometimes things are falling off the counter and I can catch it really quick. That's pretty Jedi too. So I'm really excited about the new Star Wars movie as well. So what happened was, after the film industry, the film industry went on a writer's strike, and for a long time there was no work in the film industry. And all my friends at the time were becoming realtors. The real estate market was booming at the time. So there was these courses. It was like, get your real estate license in 5 weeks or 6 weeks, right? You would go to UBC, you would buy your books. It was like $1,000 at the time, and then you'd have to just write a test. If you write the test and you pass, you get over, I think, 70%. You become a realtor. So people would make these courses that would be like, get your real estate license in 5 or 6 weeks. And a friend of mine started a program like that and convinced me to go into his program. Went into it, and then I used to put my head on the table all the time and say, "Oh, I don't want to be a real estater." So I don't want to be a real estater, you know. But ended up, I did become a real estater, and you know, by the end of the year, you know, I had no marketing skills, I had no business skills. It was my first time ever venturing into business, entrepreneurship, marketing, anything like that, right? And at the end of the year, I had over $30,000 in debt. Right, and it was stressful. I mean, if anyone knows what it's like to have that much debt, I mean, it's really, really stressful. I kind of joke sometimes, like anyone who's been a student knows what I'm talking about. But this is not like student debt. This was like credit card debt, right? This was like 20% interest kind of shit. Like it was not a good situation, right? And you know, like I couldn't get girls, I couldn't get dates, you know, I couldn't go out with my friends, you know. I was irresponsible with my money, so anytime I had money, I would just spend it, right? And then I started accumulating more and more marketing skills. What happened was, right at the end of the year, I went to my managing broker and I said, "Hey, like I'm broke. I've got no skills. Like, what should I do? Like, you know?" And he said, "You're young. Why don't you go figure out this internet marketing stuff?" So it just so happened a week prior to that, I met a guy and he was telling me about how he did SEO. And my first question to him was, "Is SEO legal?" I thought it was an illegal activity on the internet. And so I went back to him and I said, "Hey man, like, you know, I remember you telling me about this internet marketing stuff. Can you teach me that, or can you help me with my business?" So what he said, "Hey, why don't you help?" He said, "You help me get more sales, and then I'll help you with your marketing for your real estate business." So he said, pick up the phone book, call the guy with the biggest ads, and if you, with the first sale you make, I'll give you 100% of whatever that sale is worth. So I started cold calling and cold calling and cold calling. Anyone cold called before? It's not very fun. So I cold called, but that day I set up a meeting with a moving company out in Richmond and got him to go to the meeting, and we went together, and we ended up closing that deal about a week or two later, and it was for $3,000, and he gave me the full $3,000. And then I was like, I love internet marketing. This is amazing, right? So I ended up slowly over the next couple of years, I transitioned and I stopped doing real estate, and I started becoming basically like a sales guy selling SEO and websites. I did that for 2 years, and then I actually started Web Friendly. So for the last 7 years, I've been teaching people about social media, internet marketing, and about 3 years ago, or now it's almost 4 years ago, we started a program called the Social Media Directors Certification Program, which helps people who are starting careers as social media directors. And that's been like the core thing that I've been doing over the last few years, is teaching people how to start a career as an internet marketer, because I love the lifestyle of an internet marketer. Like, I love being able to do this presentation right now. If you think about it, you know, right now we're at total capacity on this webinar. So there's 100 people here. And I mean, 100 people is a lot of people to have in a room, right? And to be able to just do this from the comfort of my own home, I could be anywhere in the world right now, and being able to have an audience, you know, just everything about internet marketing just screams freedom, right? And I really value freedom. I became an entrepreneur because I wanted freedom. So I really love the lifestyle, and that's why I teach other people how to do the same. And that's kind of my way of kind of giving back and helping people with their own careers. And some of you already know about this, but we turned a small 4-person internet mastermind into the largest internet marketing meetup on meetup.com. We have almost 6,000 members now. We're at 5,600 something members now. We do events every Monday night. This is one of them. So what we do is we do a live in-person event, and then we do a webinar. Then again, live in person, then a webinar, right? Right now, this is actually our last event of the year because Christmas is coming. But on January 14th, I think we come back to our regular weekly schedule. So that's really exciting. If you guys don't know about it, or if you're not on Internet Masterminds yet, go to internetmasterminds.org. That will redirect you over to our meetup page, and definitely check it out if you're in Vancouver. Even if you're not in Vancouver, you can join these webinars here. And I also do some advising to a handful of clients. I help them build sales funnels. I help them get high converting offers online. We run ads to those offers and build out sales funnels, right? So I only work with a small handful of clients on that, but it's just stuff I really love doing. I'm somebody who doesn't only teach internet marketing, I actually do what I teach, and I think that makes a big difference. If you're ever going out looking for a trainer, looking for someone to learn from, you want someone who's actually in the field and does it. That's one of my kind of pet peeves against college and university, is that sometimes your instructor, if you're going to a business, for business or entrepreneurship and stuff, sometimes these instructors, don't actually have any real practical experience, but they're still preaching what they learn, what they see in the textbook, right? So I learn from experts, and now I'm an expert, and now I'm teaching as well. All right, so what are we going to learn today? All right, so what we're going to do is I broke up the presentation into 3 categories. So first, what we're going to do is learn how to grow our audience. Then we're going to engage our audience. We're going to discover how we're going to get more engagement online. And the third and final step is to get more conversions. All right, so we want to grow an audience, engage an audience, and then actually convert a small percentage of those people into actual leads and eventually sales. So why is this information important to you now, right? Why do we actually got to know this stuff, right? So the first thing is that the cost of getting involved in social media is growing I want to say every month. I was going to say every day, but really it's like almost every month. The cost of actually getting into the game of social media is going up. If you look just 5 years ago, if you wanted to run ads on Facebook, it would cost you literally pennies, right? Like we were looking at 10 cent, 20 cent clicks. Now you're looking at maybe $1, $2 clicks for what used to cost 10 or 20 cents. It is going up and up. Even if you look at Google AdWords, when AdWords first started, it was like a gold mine for everyone. People got, there's a lot of people who got millionaires. They got very rich from when Google AdWords first launched. It was the first time that you can go out and buy traffic like that, right? Now the cost of Google AdWords is, it's a hell of a lot more. There's tons more restrictions of what you can and cannot advertise, and you have to privacy policies, and there's a lot more involved as these networks get more and more, they get more and more customers, right? They start putting more and more restrictions, right? So now is the time, okay? Like it's still an easy time. People are still making tons and tons of money off of Facebook. I'm one of them, right? But I know that in a few years things will change, and it won't be as easy as it is today. So now is the time to start mastering social media. Social media is still a baby, right? It's still a baby, and you want to get in now. You want to get in early, right? And I know that social media can be a huge waste of time. I am guilty of it myself. Because I'm a Facebook or a social media marketer, sometimes I have to log into my account, and then I have to get distracted by the newsfeed, but I'm trying to go to my ads account or something. But what I'm going to give you today is an actual strategy, a plan that you can use that's going to help you save a ton of time, because I can tell you I've made a lot of mistakes, and the stuff I'm going to show you today are all the moves that I made that were right. So you can start avoiding those mistakes. Focus on the content that I'm going to talk about with you today, and implement that in your business, and you're going to save yourself a ton of time, I promise you. Right, and the last thing is that a lot of people are marketing on social media, and sometimes our campaigns, I want to call them, they're not cool, right? Like they're kind of too salesy. Maybe they're how do I say, like they just don't come across as being human, right? Like you want to get that intuitive sense when you're doing your marketing. So what I'm going to show you too is basically these campaigns are going to be cool, right? So when you put them out, even if your friends see them, they're not going to think that you're uncool for doing that kind of marketing, right? My friends see my marketing and they tell me, hey, that was a really cool campaign, or I really like your new sales page, right? Whereas a few years ago, I used to do marketing and people would literally not want to be my friend. Not even kidding. People unfriended me because they didn't like how I was marketing my business. So we're going to keep it really cool. And here's your chance to figure out if you're going to stick around till the end of this webinar. All right. So this webinar is going to be probably another 60 minutes or so as we go through the entire training. So here are some reasons or some ways to find out if this is going to be for you. All right. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling to profit from social media and you want a system that works, then this is definitely going to be for you. Okay. If you feel that you've been wasting a lot of time managing your social media profiles and you want to get a lot more results, then this is definitely for you. And if you want to get more sales and not just engagement. So I'm going to show you how to get engagement, but what's important is that the engagement is going to be very strategic as a type of engagement we want, which is going to lead to a sale. So a lot of people come to me and ask me to help grow their engagement on social media, and I say, well, what do you really want to get at the end? And they say, well, we want more sales. So there is a strategic way of getting engagement that will also increase your sales at the same time. So you may already know this, but I have 2 free gifts for you today. First, I'm going to give everybody a PDF copy of my slides that you're actually viewing right now. And all the resources that I talk about in this training are all going to be clickable. So you can click them and then go to the various places, right? So it's going to be a clickable PDF download, and you'll get that in your inbox tomorrow morning. And for kicking around to the very end and committing to actually putting this stuff into your business and actually implementing it in your business, committing to staying to the end of the training, I'm going to give you a free early access. This is not even available for sale right now, to the 4 Steps of Social Media Profits Bootcamp recording. So that was the event that we did at Science World a few weeks ago. We had 227 people registered for this event. We packed the theater at Science World. Awesome event. I got tons of really positive feedback. I had one person who really didn't enjoy it, but you can't please everybody. I will be selling these videos in the very near future, but today I'm going to give everybody free access right at the end of this presentation as a reward for sticking around to the very end. All right, so there's 2 videos in there. There's one with my entire keynote, and then we also have Shane Gibson, who is the guest speaker at the event. There's a full 1-hour keynote with Shane Gibson as well. You get the entire thing. So the presentation you'll see of me is actually the same sort of presentation I'm doing today, but you're going to see it a little bit differently. I'm in a live audience. I'm giving different examples, that sort of thing. So I think you're going to enjoy it. All right, so let's get into it. So what I did is I broke up this presentation to 3 sections. So how to grow your audience, how to engage your audience, and how to convert your audience. And for each section, I asked 3 questions. All right. So if you're taking notes, you want to write down these 3 questions, and then you're going to want to fill your notes in between the questions. All right. So let's get started. So our first question is, how do you get started? All right. So to get started, I recommend a really simple technique, and this is something that is often overlooked, but is actually very simple and definitely doesn't require any technical knowledge. And that is to make people think that you're cool. Now, people sometimes make a joke and they say that people appear one way online and but then when you meet them in person, like they're not really like that, right? And people talk about how people will brag or do what's called a humble brag online and talk about how they're doing something cool, and try to make it appear like they're doing cool things, or they'll actually go out and do cool things just so they could share it on their social media. So some people make fun of that kind of stuff. I embrace it. Okay, I want to make myself appear as cool as possible on social media. Then people interact with me differently when they see me in person. They automatically assume I actually am cool, right? Sometimes, I want to go out and do cool things, but I'm tired. I feel lazy. I don't want to go out that night or that day or whatever, right? But then I think, well, if I go out, I'll be able to take a picture, and then I can tell my friends on Facebook, and then they'll think I'm cool. It actually goes in the back of my mind. Like, I'm half kidding, but it actually goes in the back of my mind because for years I've been aware of this. I'm aware that people go and try to act cool online. Like, I know this is like a thing, right? But people, like, when people first started talking about it in the news and the media, they were saying it like it's a bad thing, and I'm like, but that's a great thing, right? Because it makes people want to have a better lifestyle. It makes people want to be cool, and if there's more cool people in the world will be more cool, right? So how do you be cool, right? So I like to use this analogy, right? Do you want to be old Batman or new Batman, right? All right, so there's a different sense of style between being the old Batman and the new Batman, right? The new Batman was pretty darn cool. The old one, not so much, right? And so there's also overdoing it, right? This was from one of the Batman movies where the costumes were just a little over the top, and I would say it was not that cool, right? They were not cool. It was a little cheesy, right? So you want to be that kind of slick, kind of cool, and I'm talking about your actual profile picture. Okay, your profile picture is going to say a lot about you, and you want that picture to make you appear as if you are successful, you are cool, you're fresh, right? That sort of thing. So I am actually going to show you a very embarrassing picture of myself right now. So the picture on the left is actually the very first picture I ever uploaded on Facebook. This is my very first profile picture on Facebook. This is in 2007. And if you look at the picture on the right, this is now my main picture that I use in my market. It's actually not my profile picture right now. It was my profile picture, and it probably will be again in the near future. But that's kind of the transition, right? I actually went out and hired a professional photographer to take this picture of me, and I think I spent $300. We were taking pictures for hours. We got 3 different pictures, and we did this artsy kind of thing that he wanted to do as well. I dressed up like James Bond. I don't know, but you need a really solid headshot, a really professional photo. That's going to make you look professional, right? Because I mean, would you want to come to my webinar if that was my profile picture on the left, or or the one on the right, right? So go out, hire a professional photographer that go and look at that photographer's work and look for pictures that when you see it, it just like triggers you. It's just like, that is a good picture, because a good photographer is going to get the right kind of energy out of you in that photo. It's not just about pointing and shooting and making it focus. Right? It's really about getting that energy, your smile. Good photographers know how to get like your personality out in that photo, right? And that's why you want a professional photographer, not just somebody who has a really nice camera. This is the same as true with your logo. So if you look at the logo on the very left, I actually got this logo made when I was sitting in a Waves Coffee, and I saw a graphic designer working on a project. He was beside me, and I tapped his shoulder. I said, "Hey, man, I see you know how to use Photoshop. Would you make me a logo?" And so I paid him $50 right there, and we designed this logo. And then I thought it was a little bit too childish, kind of kiddish, So then I hired another designer. I think I was paying him hourly. I forget how much I actually paid him, but he made the logo in the middle. And it looked a little too vicious, I would say. The stinger looked a little bit vicious. And then I actually found a designer that worked at Pixar. He actually designed the Spider-Man 3 poster. And he designed me this bee, right? The bee that we see now. So I like to joke and say that I have a Pixar bee as a logo. But if you look at the 3 of them, what do you guys think? Which one do you like better? We'll say the one on the very left is number 1, middle one's number 2, and number 3 is the logos on the very right. Which one do you like better? Right? I think everyone's obviously saying 3, right? Everyone likes the Pixar bee. So, the other cool thing about it too is that when I got it designed, I wanted to make sure that I could make my logo into an icon that would fit on my Facebook profile. That's how you see that blue box with the bee in it. That's for my Twitter and for my Facebook. It looks good, it looks professional, it looks like a legit business. It's a nice logo, right? And then the other one is obviously where it says web friendly, and that's what I use in my branding and stuff like that, right? So it's really important. I paid this designer $600, which is actually not a lot to pay for a logo. I know people who charge like $15,000 for logos, which I think that is crazy. Okay, and I wouldn't pay $15,000. But I think $600 is a fair amount to pay. You can also go on sites like freelancer.com. You can run like a contest and have like a $600 prize, and then you have multiple designers submitting logos to you, and then you choose one, give them the $600, and take your logo and go. If you are going to design a logo, make sure to get an AI file. That's one big mistake a lot of people make is they get either just like a JPEG of their logo or a PSD file. You need to get the AI file of your logo. All right, so the next step is to, next step in growing your audience is to get specific. And so, hang on a second. I'm just seeing it. I feel like I just missed a slide here. No, there we go. Sorry. So we want to get specific on our audience. So you want to figure out who is going to be eligible to be a part of your audience. So what you don't want to do is go out and just get a bunch of fake followers, right? You want real people who are going to be real prospects, right? So when I talk about growing your fans, like getting more likes, getting more followers on Twitter, that sort of thing, we're actually talking about getting real prospects to follow you, to like you on Facebook, subscribe to you on YouTube, whatever it might be. Real prospects. You want to get very specific about who your audience is going to be and who you want to help and how you want to help them. So before you actually start in your actual strategy, you want to get really clear on who is it that you're going to go on a target with your campaign. And speaking of the campaign, when we come out of the bat, we actually want to launch with a campaign. All right? And so I'm going to go through 4 different campaign types that you can use that's going to help attract your audience. Okay, so the first one's going to be a contest. Then we're going to do what's called a viral press release. Then we're going to do a book launch example. Now, the book launch example is not something I actually did, so I haven't actually written a book, but I'm going to show you a book launch that I was a part of promoting, and it did really well. I'm going to show you how it was done. And you could also do a video series. I'm going to show you how to do a video series as well. So the first example is a contest. So what you're looking at here is a actual live contest. This contest is actually still live right now. And it's a Christmas contest to win a hoverboard. So what we did is we actually did a fun little game with it. I actually thought of this while I was out with my friends having some drinks and came up with this idea. And I pitched it to my client, and then he was like, okay, fine, we'll do it. Right? So I thought it was kind of funny. Basically what it was is this is for the Vancouver Winter Wonderland, which is a Christmas festival that's coming to Vancouver from December 11th to 20th this Christmas. It's at the Peony. And I built the entire website. I've been doing all their marketing, all their social media stuff. It's been a super successful campaign so far. And so this contest here, what we did is we had a gingerbread man hiding somewhere on the website. And when you find him, you click on him, and then you've caught the gingerbread man, and you can now enter to win a hoverboard. Now, why a hoverboard? The hoverboard, I think, is the hottest gift of the year. I think that's the kind of thing that everyone's been talking about online. They're just cool, right? Everyone kind of wants to try one. If you see one of these things, you're like, hey, let me try. I want to, you're kind of curious about it, right? So I've been seeing it all over the internet, and that's why I thought about the hoverboard as this prize. And so basically how this works is we're using an app called Contest Domination. Okay, so what happens is I put a post out on Facebook. You can see that on the left side of the screen here. And I put a $120 budget into this post. Okay, and it basically says, hey, here's how it works. You got to find the gingerbread man, go to the website, click on him, and then enter. Then you see the image on the right. People will go there and enter in their name and email address. And then they see this. First, they see the page on the left of the screen. And they can invite 3 friends, and they enter their friends' emails, and it sends them a personalized email, not personalized, a templated email, I should say, but it has their name in it. It comes from their email address. And it basically says, hey, I just entered this contest. I think you'd like it too, right? Huge percentage on that. A lot of people who actually receive that from a friend will actually come back, and it creates this viral loop. Right, this viral loop where people are entering and then inviting friends, entering and inviting friends. Then, after they finish that, or they can skip it, they go to the next page where they get a unique link they can share on Facebook and Twitter, and they continue sharing it. So this has been an amazing contest. We've gotten some really incredible stats. Check this out. So the very top line is our total conversions, which is incredibly high. Don't worry about that compounded conversion rate. That doesn't really make sense. It's not actually really that accurate. But we have a total of 1,003. I mean, when I took the screenshot anyways, it was over 1,003. I think it's 1,050 now or more. But basically 1,000 people so far. But what's really unique about this is if you look at the middle line, the blue line, we had 464 people come through. Either we emailed all the previous ticket buyers, and we also had that ad going for $120, and it's going on for like 10 days, something like that. Right? But what's really cool is that because of this, the viral effect of social media and using this viral contest, we have more referral traffic, we have more referral traffic and more referral leads. If you look at the bottom line, from just the 464 people sharing and inviting their friends, we've accumulated another 539 people, right? Which is great stat, right? So that's why it shows a total of 1,003 leads, right? And we got most of it from the viral nature of social media. Now, your second campaign is what I call a viral press release. Now, this is also from the Vancouver Winter Wonderland. I'm using them as most of my examples because it's all the current stuff. I've been working on this for the last 3 months. They're one of my primary clients right now. And they sent me this press release. They were putting it out on Vancity Buzz. And they said, Matt, what do you think of this? And I looked at it and I was like, guys, like, no, this is like boring, right? So first thing I did is I changed the title, right? And I looked at Vancity Buzz, and I was looking at what articles get the most virality. And there was a lot of this 10 reasons why kind of stuff, right? I noticed a lot of 10 reasons why so-and-so. And those were the ones that were getting the highest amount of shares. So the first thing I did is I changed the title to 10 reasons to attend Vancouver Winter Wonderland. And they had these bullet points of like all these reasons why. That's why I had 10, because there was actually 10 reasons why. And what we did is we turned each of the reasons into a tweet. And what we did is we put all the tweets out the day before the article actually went out. We created custom graphics for each one of those tweets. And then we told people if you retweet any of those, retweet your favorite reason or tell us your favorite reason, and you can win tickets to Vancouver Winter Wonderland. Then what we did is we embedded each of those tweets into the press release. So there was actually 10 spots there where people can actually see. They can follow us, or they can retweet us, they can respond to us, and it created a ton of engagement. We had over, I think, close to 10,000 shares on Facebook, and there was only a few hundred shares on Twitter, which is really interesting. Twitter's been in the news a lot about kind of the engagement dropping on Twitter. And Jack Dorsey just took over as CEO again, and they're trying to bring it back. They're trying to bring Twitter back alive. I believe they will. I love Twitter. Well, I've a lot to do with my business and how it grew. All started from Twitter. So I do hope that they do bring it back. But right now the engagement is really low. So if I were to do this viral press release again, I would use Instagram as our embedded images and grow the Instagram account versus the Twitter account. So we're actually planning to do more of this stuff now and use Instagram, but this is just a great example. So I'm going to link to this article so you guys can see exactly how the whole thing was put together in the PDF that you're going to get tomorrow morning, right? So you guys can check it out there. So the third thing is a viral book launch. All right, so actually, sorry, this is not exactly a viral book launch. Sorry, I mean there are some viral aspects to this campaign, but that's not what I want to talk about today. This book launch here was more about getting people through your sales funnel that are really qualified. So this book launch actually ended up doing over 30,000 books were sold. I can't remember what the actual dollar amount and value that was created, or in profits that was created from the entire funnel, but I do know this is Russell Brunson's book launch. I do know he did mention somewhere, and I didn't find the stat, but he has mentioned it publicly, how much money was actually made on this funnel. It was a lot. Basically what this is a free plus shipping offer. So he says, hey, you can have the book for free if you just pay for the shipping, and the shipping is $8.95. So through Amazon, I think it was Amazon or the shipping company, you can ship anywhere in the States for $8.95, but if they got to ship to Canada or like UK or somewhere else, it actually does cost them more. And so in some cases, they would actually lose money on this offer. But as soon as you put in your details to get the book for free, right, with free shipping, or sorry, free but you pay for shipping, then they automatically upsell you into another program for $100 or $200 or so on. And Russell has programs that are $10,000 and $25,000, right? So I'm sure he made hundreds of thousands, probably $1 million plus, from giving away 30,000 books. But the reason why this is so powerful is because the 30,000 people who get this book are going to be very highly qualified to buy his trainings and to go into his coaching programs, right? Because the whole book is basically like a really long sales letter about how cool and how great Russell Brunson is, right? I mean, it's a great book. I'm not trying to say it's not, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's a very, very value-packed book, actually. I really like it. But what I mean is that you basically get sold into, okay, this is a great concept. Now I need to take the next step. I need to get more coaching. I need to get more training, right? A book is not going to give you everything. It's going to give you a lot of information, but you're not going to get everything, right? So this helps you get very specific on your audience, and that's why it's so powerful, right? And the fourth example is a video series. All right, so if you start with a video series, you can make videos yourself. Right now, you're looking at me on my webcam, right? So you can just do a video like that on your webcam and just talk directly to the camera, and you get people to opt in, right, to get a free video series, right? I've actually seen people go out and actually do a video series membership site where they're actually finding videos from YouTube. And basically what they're kind of giving away is this curated list of videos around a very particular topic. So you don't actually have to produce the videos yourself. You could go out and find other videos from other experts as well. I've also seen people do this with very high quality videos. There's also something called the like a launch, like a video launch, right? Where people get like a series of videos that will go out, and then at the end they'll make an offer, right? So that is another way to launch with a campaign, right? That's going to get a very specific audience into your funnel, right, and start engaging with you. Okay. So the next question, right, under our audience, building an audience umbrella, is how much should you budget? Can you do this for free, or do you need to use paid advertising? So first, paid advertising, Facebook. I'm going to talk about that first. Facebook advertising allows you to put ads on the newsfeed of Facebook, so they're called desktop newsfeed ads. There's mobile ads that show up on mobile devices. More than half of Facebook's traffic is all mobile, right? Then there's what's called right column ads, which are the original ads, which were just on the right column of Facebook. So desktop newsfeed ads and mobile ads are a little bit more expensive than desktop ads, except you get a lot more traffic a lot faster, right? So you get lots of traffic fast, but it costs a little bit more, or you can use the right column ads, and it's a little bit cheaper, but you get a slower progression of traffic. So when I'm growing my audience and I want to do what's called a like campaign, what I do is I run right column ads, so I get the lowest cost per like. So I'm getting my prospects to like my page all the time and slowly growing my audience. Whereas if I was in a rush, I might, go for desktop and mobile ads. But usually, I want to pay like 20 cents a like, and sometimes the cost of likes can be quite high. It can be like $1 plus sometimes when you're going really local. But I want to spend 10 cents would be amazing. But usually it's like 20 to 50 cents per like, right? 50 cents is kind of the tops that I want to pay. And usually I accomplish this with right column ads, right? So in the case of running a Facebook ads campaign to grow your likes, I recommend right column ads. And you need to define who is going to actually see this ad. This is getting very specific on your audience. So Facebook is the most powerful advertising platform in the world. It's the most powerful advertising platform we've ever had in the world. The amount of ways that you could target and narrow in on your audience is quite amazing. So first of all, you could target based on location if you've got a local business. And just curious here, actually, I want to take a survey really quick. Who has a local business? Who has a local business? Just put in. I'm just kind of curious. And all right, great. So lots of local business. And then who has an online business? Online only. Kind of curious. I actually wanted to do a survey. Figure out how many people have onlines and in person. Okay, great. So it's almost like half and half. Wow. Okay, great. Cool. Cool. Wow. Oh, cool. Hey, Aaron. I haven't seen you for a long time. Cool. Cool. All right. Some people just wanted to start an online business too. All right, great. Okay, cool. Thank you. I just wanted to do a quick survey. That was for something else. I've been wanting to do a survey like that for a while. I'm just kind of seeing. So I'm going to look more into the questions later on and figure out how many people actually answer that question. But the other one you can also target is age, of course, gender. Now, what's really cool about Facebook is that Facebook asks you a lot of questions in your profile, right? Where if you look at Twitter, they don't ask a whole lot of questions, right? So what's really interesting about gender on Facebook is that they ask you, are you male or female on Facebook? On Twitter, they actually don't ask you if you're male or female. I think they actually did add it in, actually, as a matter of fact. But I think I just noticed it. But before, when ads came out on Twitter, I looked into how they were getting all these details, all these ways I was able to target my audience. I was looking at how did they actually figure this stuff out. And I found out it was all third-party data. Or majority was third-party data. And the way they figured out if you were a boy or a girl was by your first name. And I was like, what if your name is like Jesse, right? Jesse's like boy and girl name, right? Like, even like, there's so many, unisex names. How do they determine if you're a boy or girl based on your name, right? So, so what's really cool about Facebook is they actually ask these questions, and these are like legit. These, this targeting, it gets really legit. It actually works. This is language, like what language do they speak and what kind of languages can they speak? This is really good if you're targeting people, that speak Spanish or Japanese or whatever it is, right? What's their relationship status, right? Are they single, engaged, or married? I can let you know, anyone who's trying to market to people who are engaged is very expensive because, there's so many things that you could sell to people who are planning a wedding. So I've done a few campaigns and it gets very pricey. What's their education level? Education level also tells you about income level. That's actually one stat that I learned about. The more educated somebody is, statistically, the more money they also make. So if you're trying to find people with a high net worth, you target people who have a high education, master's degrees. Job titles, right? You're trying to target people at specific companies, CEOs, marketing managers, so on, right? Job titles. Generation, what generation they were born in. Are they parents? You can even target how old are their kids. Right? And they have different gaps, like are they babies, do they have toddlers, teenagers, so on, right? How many kids do they have, etc. What kind of politics do they follow, what kind of behaviors do they have online, and what kind of interests do they like what other pages do they like? Do they like yoga? What activities do they do? Right? So all these things that you do on Facebook they're collecting data so that way people can advertise to you. Now, I know some people kind of don't like the idea of, they're taking all this data and then now they're advertising to us and it's so, weird. I never thought that was weird. I always thought that was cool because isn't it better to see ads on Facebook that are relevant to what you like versus just seeing Dove ads and big brand ads, I really like the ads on Facebook. I find that they're very targeted. They're about internet marketing. I get to see what people in my industry are up to, and every once in a while I will click and I will buy something, right? So I think as a user, I think it's a lot better. I think I hear people complain about, hey, my God, the more data I get Facebook, they're just going to advertise to me, but you're going to get relevant advertising, right? Which is a good thing, right? So just some quick fun with some math. So if you had a let's just say a $500 to start advertising budget, and you wanted to get 1,000 new likes to your fan page, and you put in and you got them for between 25 cents to 50 cents, so you're doing about $10 a day here, and then out of those 1,000 likes, you ended up getting 30 leads, okay, by running a second campaign, which is more of a conversion campaign where you run ads to your fans only. Then every month you might be pulling in maybe another 30 leads, maybe a lot more. It depends on your product and your offering and that sort of thing. But let's just say 30, right? And it'll cost you maybe about $5 a lead. Could cost you more, again, depending on your industry. These are just some averages, right? And then you also want to run ads, what I call page post engagement ads, where you update your status every 2 or 3 days, and then you boost the post, right? So that way you're also getting engagement, so people aren't just liking your page and then you're offering them stuff for sale. They like your page, then you start showing them relevant content, they start engaging with it, and then they start seeing your ads to actually buy from you or at least enter into your sales funnel, right? So a lot of people, I mean, if you look at these numbers right here, I mean, this can do a lot of money. Just a $500 budget can actually do a lot for you if you have a really highly optimized campaign. I have clients that will spend thousands of dollars every month, right? And because we're doing high ticket sales, we're making tens of thousands of dollars every month, right? On average, for like high ticket sales, if you're selling something that's like $2,000 plus, I've noticed the average to conversion to the sale, and I've been doing this for almost 4 years now. Just doing high ticket sales on Facebook, and it's cost us about $200 on average. Okay, $200 to make a $2,000 plus. It could be more than $2,000 sale. So that was conversion right to the sale. $200 to make $2,000. Right, and I've been doing that for nearly 4 years now for myself and for my clients as well. Right, so I really love working with high ticket sales, but some people also have low ticket sales stuff, and it also works and it can work for you as well. And the next tip here is to actually focus on using the viral nature of social media. So I actually use this promoting this webinar that you're on right now. After you registered, you notice that you were redirected to a page that said, hey, thanks, you're registered, and would you share on Facebook and Twitter? Now, usually, I've been doing this a lot, usually the average on this page is about 20% of the people will share on Facebook or on Twitter. And it creates this viral effect. People register and then share. Bring somebody else in, register and share. So curious, who heard about this webinar on Facebook or on Twitter? From someone sharing it, right? Not one of my ads, from someone sharing it. Just curious how many people are actually here right now because someone shared and told you about it online. Great. Okay, tons. Wow. Cool, cool. Awesome, awesome. Cool, cool. All right, so yeah, so that was it, right? So I created this viral campaign. I utilized the viral nature of social media in order to, so I just want to show you that I actually practice what I preach, and this stuff really does work, right? So here's another example of using the viral nature of social media. This is a contest we did that just ended last week on the Vancouver Winter Wonderland Facebook page. It was super, super simple. Basically what it says is, enter to win. It says, we're giving away family packs of 4 Santa Express tickets to Vancouver Winter Wonderland. And just like, share, comment below on our latest Van City Buzz story. This was our viral press release, right? And you'll automatically be entered to win. So this was like viral stacking, right? So like they're sharing a viral post that's already viral or whatever. So, right? I forget how much I put into, but I think it was a $60 budget into boosting this post. Okay. First one I want to mention here is that I actually did a typo on this. When I said just like, share, comment below, I meant to say just like, share, or comment, and I typoed it. And everyone, well, not everyone, but most people were like liking, sharing, and commenting. So when we went to go and actually choose the winner, the way that we did it was we decided that I took the total number of shares, the total number of likes, and the total number of comments, and then I sent it to the founder and creator of Vancouver Winter Wonderland. And I said, choose 3 random numbers between this and this and this and this, right? So he sent me back 3 random numbers. Then I just counted down from the top, and I just went 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted down. It's funny. One of his numbers was like, because we had like 250 shares, and his number was like 200 something. I was like, fuck. It's like, so I had to like count like to 200, whatever, and then so then I tagged them. I told them they won and whatever, right? But we got lots and lots of shares. But again, it was just a typo. But I would do it again the same way. Get them to like, share, and comment. So I'm going to show you guys the results of this. It was really amazing. So yeah, $60 budget on boosting the post, and we had 747 clicks to this article, which is quite amazing, right? And people just kept on sharing and sharing and sharing it. I'm going to send you guys a link to this post as well. You can check it out. I'm going to send you a link to the article. You can check out how many shares I got and engagement. Look on Twitter. Just do a search for the Vancouver Winter Wonderland Twitter tag. You can do the hashtag or just type in their username on Twitter, and you could see tons of people are just sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing. We're just using this viral effect of social media. And by the way, this event has been a huge success. It just, we've sold, it's like tens of thousands of tickets have already been sold. We even use the same sort of strategies when we were filling up all of our vendor booths. So there's, I think, 88 or 90 or so different vendor booths that are going to be at the festival, and we sold them all through Facebook ads, through social media, using the viral effect of social media. So everything was just all using these concepts that I'm talking about right now. Now, the next way to kind of grow your audience really quickly for free is using a like box in your website. So I actually had a client who came to me and said that he wanted to help. Most people come to me and say either they want to grow their fans or grow their engagement. Very few people will come to me and say, Matt, I want to make more sales on social media. I'm like, why? So anyway, so people usually come to me and say, I want to get more fans or more engagement. I go and meet with them, and then I funnel them down to the idea of let's make more sales, right? Because that's what you really want, right? But you really want to get more fans, and we want relevant fans, of course. So we can advertise to our fans, right? And it was funny, he showed me his stats to his website, and he was getting over 10,000 unique visitors to his website every single month because he was investing, I think it was like $1,000 or $2,000 a month in SEO, right? He's a real estate company. And so he had these links on the right column of his website that said, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it said, right? So they were just like those little icons, right? So what I did was I said, okay, well, you want to focus on growing your Facebook page. That was his main thing. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, right? Even like I wanted him to do a newsletter. I thought that would be even better, but he's like kind of like, oh, I don't want to be spammy. I don't want to email too much. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll get back to emailing later, right? But whatever. He wanted to grow his Facebook page. So we put a like box on the very top of the right column of his website. We removed those follow us everywhere, just like us on Facebook. It was a like box, okay? So you can actually like from the little widget thing on the side, right? And you can see who liked it and all that kind of stuff, right? And his likes just skyrocketed right away because he was getting 10,000 uniques anyways, right? So I don't know what he's at right now, in the thousands, right? He went from like a few hundred to thousands very quickly just by adding this like box on his website. Now, if you want to get a like box, there'll be a link inside the PDF that I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you right to a page on Facebook where you can easily build a like box by just putting in your Facebook page URL, and then it builds a like box for you, and then you just take the code, put it on your website, and it's done. All right. So what platform should you use, right? You've got a lot of options on platforms. Oh, I got some really lemony water in here. And it's like very, very strong. All right. So my first recommendation is Facebook. Facebook is the largest social media network ever. All those stats, like if it was a country, it'd be like this third largest country or whatever, right? I think it's like the largest country in the world now, right? Also because it collects so much data on your audience that you can actually use to then target them with relevant advertising, right? And again, you have the most targeted advertising platform in the world, and it's still not expensive. It still can be very cheap to advertise on Facebook. If you want to go and advertise in like a newspaper, you have to invest thousands of dollars to get in that advertising spot. With Facebook, you could start with $20, $10. Like just play around with it. I usually recommend to do like $500 in a month, and strategically. But that's usually my base point for starting, because you could learn a lot about what works and what doesn't with that initial $500 investment, and then continue to refine and make it better and better over time. right? But usually, some people just want to put $10 here, $20 there, and it's okay, right? The other one is Instagram. Now, I recommend Instagram because it's a young social network with a young audience, and it's a lot easier to grow your audience on Instagram now than it will be in the future. And it's a young audience, so that means that they're going to grow up with knowing your brand, right? They're going to grow up knowing your brand. And if you find people who are now into kind of what it is that you're into, they're just getting into it, and then they don't even know about all the different options. They don't even know about your world yet. It can be extremely powerful. Instagram just opened up advertising as well. You should already know this, but Facebook bought Instagram, and now through the Facebook advertising platform, you could actually advertise on Instagram too. Okay, and again, I was just mentioning it's still very new advertising on Instagram, so the engagement is still very high. There's not a lot of advertising on Instagram. It's still just a little bit of advertising, so it's not like overwhelming. Like I think on Facebook, it's a lot of advertising. It's so much advertising. But on Instagram, you might see like one ad every time you log in. But on Facebook, you might see like 10 or 20, before you leave. And again, it's a good time to grow your audience now, right? There's a lot of cool tactics and strategies in growing your audience on Instagram now, which I'm sure will work as well in the future. And the third thing I recommend is to do something else live. And what I mean is something like a meetup or a live event or a regular live event, maybe once a month. I'm doing once a week, right? So Meetup is a great platform if anyone knows. Like I've been doing meetups now since 2009, so 6 years now I've been doing meetups. It's a great way to connect with your community. I recommend not trying to profit from a meetup, but more about growing a community and helping people to connect with each other. And it's going to be around a topic that that's interesting, that people want to learn more about, that sort of thing, and/or doing a webinar series. So we now have in Internet Masterminds a bi-weekly meetup and a bi-weekly webinar. So I'm actually doing both of these live. All right. And the third option is something like Periscope or Blab is a new one people are talking about. There's one called Merchild. These are live broadcasting tools. When you broadcast live, your engagement is going to skyrocket. Right? People feel like they know you because they've seen you and they've heard you and that sort of thing, right? So your engagement just skyrockets. So you want to choose something like Facebook and Instagram are the ones I recommend. YouTube is great as well, but the reason why I didn't recommend YouTube here is because YouTube, you need to know more about video production and stuff like that. It takes a bit more effort to get into YouTube, but it's a great platform. I think it's awesome. The other really good one is LinkedIn, but the engagement isn't totally there on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot, but in terms of kind of growing your audience and engaging your audience and converting your audience, doesn't really follow that formula as well. But there's still tons you could do on LinkedIn, right? I mean, you could still, but and it's also very B2B as well. So it also doesn't fall in line with a lot of people who are here that have consumer related businesses, right? And Twitter, again, it was great. I think it will be great again. But right now, I wouldn't recommend it as a main channel for you at all. Right? All right. So the trick to making all of this stuff work is to be ultra cool in everything you do. Right? Be fun. Be engaging. Right? Like, think about what you're doing and think about like if my friends saw this, would they think it was cool or would they think it was lame? So, I know this is something that takes more of an intuitive process to really think about and say, like, is this campaign cool? Like, is it going to be engaging, right? Like, that sort of thing. So that's kind of whenever I put out a marketing piece or a marketing material or I write an email out or whatever I'm doing, I look at it and I say, am I being over salesy here? Am I being kind of spammy? Do I sound desperate, right? Or do I sound really cool here, right? So I'm always going for that cool kind of feel. I don't want to give people that cringy kind of feeling, like, oh, like this is advertising, this is marketing, right? I don't want to give people that feeling. I want to give people the feeling like, oh, this looks interesting, this looks kind of cool, right? That's what's going to make your marketing more effective. Be like Iron Man. So I like to ask everybody, if nobody knew how many fans you had, would you care? And you guys can answer it in the chat box right now, but I'm pretty sure everyone's answer is the same. You wouldn't care, right? Because the reason why we start focusing on these numbers, like, oh, I gotta get more fans, I gotta get, whatever, right, is because social media networks have gamified the idea of us trying to grow networks, getting more followers and more likes and all that kind of stuff. By making the stats public, they've gamified this process, right? So that's why I always recommend always focus on getting targeted prospects to follow you. Because if all you had was 1,000 people who were actual prospects that were following you, and then you started engaging with them, and then you put an offer in front of them, you're gonna get tons and tons of sales. But if you have just 1,000, which is not a lot, I mean, 1,000's a lot of people, but it's really not a people when you look at online following, that sort of thing. 1,000 people is not a lot, but if you had 1,000 real relevant prospects following you, you could be making a ton of sales. Now, when I had my email list was first growing, I remember I had about 1,000 people on my email list, and I was, on average, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you have an email list, if you have 1,000 people on your email list, on average, you make like $1,000 a month. You've got like 2,000 people, you make like $2,000 a month. So for every one subscriber, you should be averaging about $1 for that subscriber every single month, right? But I had about 1,000 really highly engaged people on my list. I think it was actually closer to like 1,500, I should say. And I was making month over month. This was like consecutive month. I think this was like 7 to 9 months in a row. I was making between $8,000 to $10,000 every month from emailing my list on a regular basis. I was emailing them almost every day, emailing a lot. Right? Some people unsubscribed, of course, but a lot of people were buying and buying and buying. I sold out my workshop every single month consecutively. I forget what the stat was. I think it was like 8 or 9 months in a row. I did a workshop every single month. It was a 4-week workshop every single month, and I sold out every one of them for almost this entire year. So that's why I really recommend really funneling people into getting their email address as well, so that way you can then email, and also cool, right? Being cool with your emails, that sort of thing. I recommend emailing more often than not. Some people think, well, I don't want to email too much because people are going to unsubscribe or it's too spammy or whatever, but you won't get a whole lot of results if you don't email often. So I try to email as much as possible without being annoying. I know sometimes I can push the limit a little bit, but my email list drives a ton of revenue, right? And same with the clients that I work with. We drive a ton of revenue through the email list, right? All right, so now we're on step number 2, all right? So step 2 is about how to engage your audience, right? So how often should you post, and what should you post about? Hang on a second. Oh, that doesn't work. All right, sorry. So how often should you post? What should you post about? And how do you amplify your existing network? Actually, you know what I want to do really quick? Before I get into this, I'm going to back up a slide here. Hang on a second. Do you guys have any questions about what we covered so far? Just really quick questions. All right. And okay, I see a few comments about people mentioning that I lost my audio. Because we're on a webinar, the audio will cut out once in a while and it'll just come back. Okay, so I'm not actually like I didn't actually mute anything or anything like that, but I do get notified if the audio goes off, so don't worry about that. All right, cool. So we have a question here from Podsworth. I don't know if that's your real name, but okay. So how do you actually make money from a list? You need a product. So yeah. So how do you make money from like an email list? You email them and tell them about your offer, and then they will click on it and maybe buy, right? So yeah, of course you need a product. Yes. Cool. Okay. Okay, I'm scrolling up. I'm noticing that you guys asked a lot of questions while I was speaking. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna wait until the end and then go back and answer all these questions. Okay, I see tons of questions here. Thank you. And so yeah, and so okay, another quick question here. Carson just asked, how do you decide how many platforms to start with? You just choose, honestly, how many should you start with? I would go with just Facebook and Instagram and then something live. That's my recommendation to you. So I would say 3 if you just want to take my advice, but otherwise, I mean, it's totally up to you what you want to go with, right? All right. All right, great. And then Dimitri just asked, "Do I have a team?" So no, I do not. I have contractors I work with, but my goal is to grow my business with no employees. So I do it on purpose. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna carry on, and then I just scrolled up and I just noticed that I've got like dozens of questions, so I don't think I'll have time to answer it all right now because I know some people have to go and whatever. Right? So if you want to stick around to the end of this presentation, I will go back. I'll answer all your questions. I'll stay here for as long as you guys want. But let's get to the end of the presentation. Then everyone can get the free gift, and then at the end we'll ask more questions. All right. So how often should you post? What should you post about? And how do you amplify your existing network? All right. So how often should you post? So it's not about the time you post or how often you should post, but it's about how long. Sorry, I get 2 points here. I got kind of mixed up here. So one is that you want to post as often as you can on your social media channels without annoying your followers, right? On Facebook, I recommend posting every second day is kind of what I recommend, or even every day, but also boosting all your posts so that way all your fans are always seeing all of your content. If you have a fan page with like millions of following, I know those pages post multiple times a day, and it works for them because they've got like 1 million followers. Their post organically is going out to thousands and thousands of people, which then gets engagement, which then gets more and more visibility on the newsfeed. But if you're a business, you probably don't have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, probably, right? And so then I just recommend posting every second day, right? But also boosting every post with that strategy. And also, you want to make it so that way your post lives longer on the newsfeed. And there's an algorithm on Facebook called EdgeRank. So this is particularly important with personal profiles. It works a lot better with personal profiles than with Facebook pages. So I use my personal profile for both personal and for business, and I keep it cool, right? But it's really important to know about EdgeRank and how it works. So EdgeRank is about it got released I think in 2008, 2009. I think Facebook first said there's an algorithm to the newsfeed. Now, what's unique about Facebook's algorithm is that it is based on this thing called EdgeRank, right? Whereas on Twitter, it's just time-based. LinkedIn now has an algorithm, but they used to for a long time were just time-based. Instagram is just time-based. There's no algorithm to it, right? So it's really important to understand the algorithm on Facebook so that way you can take advantage of it and get more visibility, particularly to your personal post. On your Facebook page, I recommend boost your post and target all your fans and all your fans' friends and put like $5 or $10 in. I recommend $1 for every 1,000 fans you have, or you can make up whatever number you want if you want, right? But usually $1 per 1,000 fans is good enough for 3 days. All right, but on a personal profile, it's important to understand this: affinity, weight, and time decay. Okay, so affinity is how well Facebook thinks that you and your friends on Facebook actually know each other in real life. So they're actually trying to model the real world, right? So how do you determine who's your real friend in real life, right? So they look at things like you're messaging each other on Facebook. You comment on each other's post. You like each other's posts, right? You're tagged in photos together. You attend events. You both RSVP'd yes to the same events together. They also look at things like you like the same topics and pages. You watch the same TV shows. You read the same books. All that stuff will add to your affinity with other people. The other one, the creepy one too, is the fact that if you connect your Facebook to your contacts on your phone, it also associates the phone numbers of your contacts and who you're calling and all that kind of stuff. It also affects the algorithm of affinity. Right? Then there's weight. So weight is based on getting comments, likes, and shares on your posts, but also on attaching things to your post. So attaching a photo, uploading a video, attaching a milestone, an event, right? So you can attach things onto your post, and that creates more weight to your post. And the last part is time decay. So basically, within 48 hours of the last comment, or engagement, I should say, comment, like, or share, your post is pretty much not going to show up on the newsfeed. And this is even true if you were to go back in time and click like or comment on an old photo of one of your friends, or even on your own. Like, if you were to go back in time and comment on one of your friends' old photos, it would then re-engage that photo on their newsfeed as well. It'll especially go to all your mutual friends will see it for sure. But what's going to happen is because you commented on it, it'll also show in the newsfeed to all their friends that you just commented on this old photo of theirs. Right? So it's about 24 to 48 hours of a last engagement on the post. Then your post kind of dies off. Okay? So if you guys want to learn more about this, just Google EdgeRank. There's a lot more things. There was another cool one. Mark Zuckerberg actually on his Facebook page said that if you write congratulations on somebody's post, that Facebook thinks, well, hey, if someone's saying congratulations, there must be some big event that happened, right? Like some big event in that person's life. So it must be important. Therefore, let's show it to more people. So if you ever notice people always write like congratulations on like someone's post or whatever, oftentimes they're just trying to get that post to get more ranking. So they're basically helping their friend get more ranking with that post, right? All right, so what should you post about? Just going to have a sip of my lemon water. Give me a moment. Oh gosh, it's like pure lemon juice or something. This is really, really strong lemon juice. Definitely gets me smiling, because it's like all tingling in my mouth. All right, so what should you post about? So a couple years ago, and first of all, who knows who this guy is? Let's see, first person to put his name in the chat box. So a few years ago, I got a call from Global TV, and they said, would you come in and talk about, would you come in on TV and talk about Chris Hadfield's use of social media? And I was on the phone like, oh, this is awesome. It's going to be my first time on TV, right? And I'm like, what? Who the hell is Chris Hadfield? I had no idea who Chris Hadfield was. So I was nervous because I was like, okay, am I going to go on TV and talk about this guy's use of social media? And I didn't follow him. I didn't know who he was, anything. And for anyone who doesn't know, he was a Canadian astronaut who lived in a space for, I think, 6 months or something like that. And while he was in space, he was using social media a lot, and he got a lot of attention. Okay, and I'll talk more about what he did in a moment. So what happened is I called my PR team. Sorry, when I told them on the phone, I said, I got to call my PR team and make sure it's okay. But I don't have a PR team. I have a friend who's in PR. And I called her. I said, hey, like, I just got this opportunity. Should I go? Like, what if I screw it up, She's like, and by the way, this is like, they called me at 2 o'clock and they wanted me on TV at 6 o'clock, okay? So she's like, oh, you got a couple hours, go to Starbucks, put your headphones on, and like study everything you did and do it. She's like, this is a great opportunity. So I called him back. I said, okay, I'm in, and I went, right? And what was cool is when I diagnosed his what he was doing was I used a formula from a presentation that I did at Social Media Week back in 2011. It was called Secrets of a Social Media Campaign, and I diagnosed the psychology of some of the most successful social media campaigns. And it came up with these like eight I don't know what you want to call them, 8 things that people use in their campaigns. And one of them was this thing I called the reality show method, right? And by the way, I'll link to my interview on Global TV. When you get the slides in the PDF, just click on it, and I'll take you over that. Click on Chris Hadfield's picture. It'll take you over that interview I did on Global TV. So he used the reality show method, and the reality show method is basically like talking about your day-to-day life and just telling stories about what's happening in your life. And usually they're going to be cool stories, right? Cool things that you're doing in your life. But what happened with Chris Hadfield is that it was even more exceptional because he was in space, right? And so, he's doing like cool space experiments and stuff. If you guys don't know, you look him up. Look up his YouTube channel. He did a lot of cool, fun stuff, right? So when I went on, that's basically what I talked about in the interview was being able to diagnose the psychology of his marketing was using the reality show method. So all the posts that you see me putting out, even my newsletters, my emails, right? I would say a good solid 80% of them are just me telling stories of things that are just happening in my life, right? And I try to make it anecdotal, kind of funny, entertaining, right? Trying to keep it cool. And the purpose of each one of them, my little secret, is that, I want to, and I'm saying this kind of half kidding, but I want people to think I'm cool, right? And again, I'm not like It's not like high school kind of think I'm cool, but you know what I mean, right? Like I want people to want to associate with me and think, oh, Matt seems like a cool guy, seems like a nice guy. We have lots in common, right? The more we have in common, the more affinity we're going to have, right? Remember Facebook's algorithm with affinity, it's true in the real world too, right? So that's what you want to use, is the reality show method. So same in your business, on your Facebook page, you want to tell stories of things that are happening in your business. And on your personal profile, stories of things that are happening in your, either in your just personal life or in your business personal life too. Now, I don't get super personal, right? Like I don't start being like, oh, I'm fighting with my girlfriend or my mom or whatever. Like I keep it pretty professional, right? I actually had someone one time I remember seeing that she had posted about how her mom was like beating her or something. I was like, you should not talk about that on social media. So there was definitely a wrong way to do a reality show, but the reality show method gives people glimpses into your life, right? And they feel like they know you. So if you look at online social media celebrities, right, you feel like you know them, right? Or any celebrity that actually a lot of celebrities do use this technique. Arnold Schwarzenegger does this really good. The Rock does this really good. Miley Cyrus is infamous for this. Justin Bieber. Now you guys know the celebrities that I follow, but they all use this method. It's called the reality show method. All right. The next thing is, how do you amplify your existing network? So what I recommend you do is that you boost all your posts. And when you boost your posts, you have this targeting option to target all your fans and all your fans' friends. Now what that does is anytime any of your fans engage with your post, they comment, like, or share it, it automatically creates an ad that goes to all their most relevant friends. And remember, people associate with people who are just like them, right? So it creates an ad that will go to all their friends from your page that says this person commented or liked or shared this post. And so it creates a social proof, right? And then they will see it, and then they'll like your page. And so every time I boost a post, I'm always getting new likes coming all the time, and I target all my fans and all my fans' friends. So as soon as somebody engages with it, it creates a new ad that goes out to all their friends. So here's an example of a post that I boosted, and you can see here, for $5, we reached 1,000 people, right? More than 1,000 people, right? So here's some more examples. Here is, here, I'm just going to open them all up for you. So what's really unique is the one on the very top left, the example on the very top left, is actually when Facebook videos first came out. I uploaded a video on Facebook, and then I boosted the post. You can see there for $14, and you can see that it got a lot of video views, 775 video views for $14. And obviously this is a promotion for the Internet Masterminds, right? And what's cool about this is anytime Facebook comes out with a new feature, use it right away, because when you advertise with that new feature, you're going to get tons of engagement, and it's going to be really, really cheap every time. And video ads are still very inexpensive. So there's new ads I think they're called lead ads. I forget what they're called, but that's the new one that just came out where people can click. They opt in right in the ad itself. They opt in the ad, and then they get the free gift in their inbox, right? So you want to start using those ads because that's a new thing that just came out, right? When Instagram ads came out, you want to use it right away. Be the first to start using these new features, and you're going to see you'll get your dollar will be stretched way, way further. Okay, so video ads are still really good. The other one that got really good results is the one on the bottom right. And on this one here, I ran a contest, right? But it was a secret contest. Basically, I was basically a promotion for a conference that I was speaking at. And what I did is I emailed my list and I said, go and comment on this post and tell me why you want to attend the conference. And we're going to choose, I think, 1 or 2 winners, I forget what it was, to get a free ticket to the conference. So the post itself didn't say it was a contest, but then people were leaving comments like, oh my God, I want to go to this so bad. It's so awesome, right? So then I boosted it, right, to all my fans and all my fans' friends. So every time someone would leave a comment about why they want to go, it would create an ad to all their friends that would then say, oh, I want to go to this thing so bad, and here's why, right? And I was actually a promotional partner for this event, so there was I got like an affiliate commission because there was a code on the discount there, and you can see it there. But it says friendly on it. We're looking at discounts on their tickets, and I was the top promoter of this event. I forget how many people. I think I got 40 or 50 people out of 200. I can't remember exactly. It was a large percentage of the people who showed up at the conference were there because of this promotion that I did. And then I also got a bonus, I think $200 or something like that, as being the top affiliate as well. All right, so it's another cool way to run a very simple, it's kind of free. I want to say it's free, but I boosted it for $36. And you might be wondering why 36. I don't know. Sometimes I go in there, I just make up a number and just go for it, right? So, all right. So the trick to making all of this work. Here it is. All right. Before you post anything, you want to ask yourself, how will my audience respond to this? Now, this actually comes from something in the PR industry called reader's response theory. And reader's response theory is about determining how the public will react to a news story, right? So when I use this in the context of social media, I look at it and say, I write the post and I say, well, how are people going to comment? Like, will they make jokes? Are they gonna, are they gonna say congratulations, right? Are they gonna thank me? What kind of comments will I actually get from when I post this, right? And I always think about that before I hit the post button. How will people respond? Because if I can't think of how they will respond, they won't, right? It's really important. So this is a really, really important key tip to getting engagement, okay? How are people going to respond to every one of the posts that you put out? Okay, so think about that before you post anything. Especially, this also is very helpful if you're not sure of like what's appropriate and like what's not appropriate. This will also help you in that criteria as well. Oh man, this is some powerful lemon water. All right. Now the third step, so converting your audience and actually making money. I know we had a couple questions about this already. So how do you actually make money, right? So our 3 questions we're going to answer here. Again, if you're taking notes, make sure to write down all 3 questions now. How do you create a compelling offer? How much should you price your offer? And how do you get high conversions on your offer? Here we go. So how do you create a compelling offer? So the first thing you need is to create an offer is to have something new. Okay, and now when I say new, it doesn't mean it has to actually be new. Okay, it's kind of weird, it's kind of funny. But if you look at all car manufacturers, they put out a new car every single year. And actually, I know with Mercedes, they actually change the model quite significantly every 3 years. I don't know if that's with every car company. But if not, then it's pretty much the same, like literally pretty much the same car every year. But everybody always wants the newest model. I actually walked into the Ferrari dealership for my vision board, I wanted to figure out how much a Ferrari would actually cost. And by the way, it's about $10,000 a month. And, I went in there and I was asking, and then she was telling me about how people normally will just lease a Ferrari and just pay monthly for it. Sorry, I was in Lamborghini. I wasn't in Ferrari. This was in Lamborghini. I did go to Ferrari too, but this was in Lamborghini. She was telling me about this. And so she was saying how people will lease it because nobody wants to actually own the Lamborghini or the Ferrari, right? Because it'll just appreciate over time or whatever it is. So she's saying basically they technically rent it and they just get a new one every year because you don't want to be driving an old 3 or 4 year old Ferrari. I guess that was kind of what she was saying. So the majority of the people do a 1-year lease, and again, it was like $10,000 a month, around that, anyways. And you'd always get the newest thing because people always want the newest thing. Now, if you look at McDonald's, Burger King, fast food places, you see this all the time. This drives me crazy. I think it's so funny. They put out the new burger. They're like new barbecue bacon cheddar burger. It's like what's different? Like, barbecue sauce, and they'll have bus stop ads and they're advertising this thing on TV like the new. It's just barbecue sauce, so it's like things that the new sells, right? People always want the new thing, right? The other example is Apple, right? Every year there's like a new phone, and I like to make this joke. It's like it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit faster, but the battery doesn't last as long, and everyone goes crazy, like lineups for this thing, All right, so next example is discounted. All right, so discounted is some brands don't discount. Like Apple doesn't really discount, right? They don't do discounts. So I understand some brands don't discount. So this is the optional one. I would say new, is should be in every one of your promotions if you can fit it in, right? Just give something a new title, like add one little thing new to it, and it's new, right? Now discounted is optional, but it's very, very, very powerful. Okay, I use discounting all the time. Okay, discounting works, okay, but I understand some people want to build a brand that's a bit more I don't know, like luxury or whatever, so they don't do discounting. But if you look at a company like Groupon grew. I think they IPO'd billions of dollars. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was pretty big, right? And they were all just about discounting, but really discounted offers. So the key to a discounted offer is to build lifetime value. So you're not trying to profit on the initial offer. It's almost like a liquidating offer, right? You don't want to profit on the initial offer, but what you want to do is someone buys it, they get to experience your product or your service, and then they will then buy more and buy more, right? So that's how discounting is supposed to work. With Groupon, I know that a lot of businesses had a bad experience because people, they had only bargain shoppers that would only ever buy discounted things, that sort of thing. So, but if you're not using Groupon and you're promoting your own thing, right? Discounts will work. Discounts will drive more sales to your offer, right? You're going to get higher conversions. And the last one is scarcity. Now, scarcity is not optional. If you're going to be doing a promotion, you're going to be putting in an offer, there must be scarcity in your offer. Okay, it's not optional. Who knows what the two elements of scarcity are? I'm just going to test and see who knows this. Put it inside your inside the chat box. I want to see who gets this first. I love how there's some grammar police in in the chat box here. I realize that there's lots of spelling mistakes. I know as I was going through it, I was noticing them too. So thank you for pointing them out. All right, so a few people already got it. All right, so it's limited time, limited quantity. Okay, limited time and limited quantity. You have to choose one or both. Okay, one or both all the time. Okay, there's going to be limited time, so it's only on sale for until deadline, right? Or there's only this much space left, right? Or this many products left, that sort of thing. Apple does this all the freaking time. Like when people line up, for the iPhone, like as if they can't create enough inventory to meet the demand, right? They are the most profitable company in the history of business. You guys know that? Apple is the most profitable company in the history of commerce. And as if they can't figure out how to produce enough iPhones for everybody, right? So they get people to line up because they create scarcity, because they know without scarcity, you don't got an offer. Scarcity is non-optional in all of your offers. You must have scarcity, and it's got to be real, legit scarcity. I see some people putting out scarcity, but it's not real, and I think that's unethical a little bit. It's not totally unethical, but it's not cool. Let's just say that. It's not cool, right? So when I use scarcity, it's always real. Okay, I use real scarcity only, because otherwise, you guys are in my network. If I start using scarcity and then it's not real, then you're going to start learning and I'm going to be training you. Well, Matt says this stuff, but it's not really true, so it's okay, right? Then my network starts ignoring it, right? So that's why I'm always, if I create scarcity, it's always going to be real scarcity. I always stick to my guns in scarcity, all right? It's super important. So how much should you price your offer? So if you guys know Netflix, Netflix now has, I believe it was, I forget the number. I think it was 80 million or 30 I think 30 million. Damn it, I forget the number. But 30 million subscribers. And they've only ever had one offer, right? And it was basically get a free trial, right? And actually, they don't even have scarcity in their offer. So it would be so much better if there was scarcity. But, Netflix is something that, you're going to, it's kind of like you're going to sign up all the time. You're getting people to sign up all the time on it, I guess. Actually, if you look at even like other telecommunication companies like TELUS and Shaw, usually they have special promotions with scarcity, right? So what they did was it was a free trial. Okay, so it's not free. That's different, right? It's a free trial. So it's free, and then they pay the full amount later. Okay, so free trial. So that's something that that has proven to work. There's tons of case studies, on free trials. Actually, if you Google free trials, you'll see there's actually a lot of. There's a site called I can't remember what it's called. It's a it's a very popular split testing blog, but they had a really good article about how effective it is to do free trials. So that's one way of doing it, right? The other one is to do what's called a liquidating offer. So your offer doesn't make any money. So this here is an example of Russell Brunson. This is how I got into Russell Brunson's funnel. Okay. He had this thing called 108 proven split tests, okay, and it was a free plus shipping offer. You paid $8.95. You got this magazine-style book of all these split tests, 108 split tests he did, and I'm really into conversion optimization, so I went for it, right? Got it, and then right after that, he upsold me into another program for, I don't know, $100, $200, and I bought that program. Then he started emailing me. I found out about ClickFunnels. I bought a ClickFunnels account. Then I went to his conference in Vegas, and it was another $600, right? Then at the conference in Vegas, he upsold me to this $3,000 coaching program, right? And then, it goes on, right? But it all started with this liquidating offer where he's not making any money or losing money on the front end, but on the back end, there's just thousands and thousands of dollars in profit on it, right? There's two ways to price your offer. So how do you get high conversions on your actual landing pages, on your sales funnels? So the key to this is congruency, all right? So congruency means that, if your ad says, come here and get a free book, right? Then they click and they go to the page and then they see that the book isn't free. It costs a little bit, right? Or let's just say it's free plus shipping, right? So then it's $8.95, right? They thought it was free, but now they have to pay, right? So it's not what they expected, basically, right? So your ad would want to say, get this free book, just pay for shipping. That way, when they click it, whatever they expected to happen actually happens. The same is true with using colors in your landing pages, right? Button color is something that people talk about a lot, like what button color converts the highest. And what tests have proven is that it doesn't matter what color your button is, as long as the button color stays the same throughout the entire process. Okay, so the trick to making all of this work, all right, is that whatever the user expects to happen next needs to happen next, okay? Whatever the user expects to happen next needs to happen next. All right, so what do you guys think of that so far? What do you guys think about the content so far? Wow, cool, there's tons of questions in here, cool. Oh, I said, oh man, Lori had a funny one. She said, I'm jumping on the Grammar Please bandwagon. It says trial, not trail. No, I actually think trail is the new way of spelling trial. Thank you very much. I don't know why Keynote doesn't have a spell check, and I clearly don't know how to spell. So, all right, so if you guys liking this so far, just give me some comments. Give me some, yeah, okay, awesome, good, okay, good. 3 people liked it for sure. That's really good. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else like it? It's awesome. We still have 100 people here, which is really like freaking awesome. So thank you. Okay, good. Okay, there we go. Now we got dozens of people that said they loved it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Back in action in the new year. Internet Masterminds, Monday nights. We'll have a blast there. All right. Thanks everyone for coming out. Take care.